Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at a HavenCraft deck. This is a very straightforward HavenCraft deck. It's been played in pretty much the last 2 metas now as far as they go for expansions, and it is still doing very well. The only thing in here that I haven't really seen a lot of was Holy Gunner. She wasn't run a lot in the variants that I played in the past, and it's been a little while since I covered a Haven Lion Bunny deck. I'm leaning towards just calling them Lion Haven now because for the most part, they are just straight up lions, and bunnies just a single card addition to this real overall deck. But for the most part, definitely a really solid deck and one that I enjoy quite a bit. So we're going to get right into this and check it out. So our first matchup is against Sword. Again, still running rampant in the early stages of the expansion. Sword is a very solid option if you are looking to gain rank very quickly. As it pretty much always has been, it's always been an extremely solid deck for early expansion times, although it does usually drop off by the 2nd to 3rd month of an expansion. So I go for the early St. Hares. A lot of people don't like to do this, but personally I don't mind. I like going for the early St. Hares, especially against aggro decks like Sword, as it does present both a body and it duplicates itself, guaranteeing that they can get into the deck, and anytime I can get more than one into the deck is actually just pure value. Plus, getting the draw on the other one really did help us out since we don't need to actually worry at all. So I went all in, since we have a pretty crazy board to start with, and we've duplicated more hares than we ever could need. And since we can't use Eva on turn 4, holding the bunny really wasn't going to probably be worth it for the long run. And now I go for the Forbidden Teaching and the Holy Lion Crystal, just to keep my board up, get that damage in. I'm hoping to retain a bunny next turn, but beggars can't be choosers sometimes, so I don't know if that will be the case. And the Forbidden was really just because I need something to draw, since we only have one Holy Lion of Salvation in our hand that we're not going to be able to use next turn now, but it wouldn't be very handy on its own. And they have a pretty nice way to get rid of everything here. Nearly everything, sorry. They did end up leaving the bunny. So I would have loved to have gone with this and the Legendary Fighter. Of course, I couldn't do Legendary Fighter thanks to, of course, the Forbidden. So Forbidden did stop us from being able to play any followers. So it's a bit disappointing we didn't draw any spells. But at least next turn should be promising. Even if it did put us slightly behind at the moment as far as board goes, which is not where you want to be against Sword. But we did end up getting an amulet, which could work in our favor with the other Legendary Fighter in our hand. Or even with this Legendary Fighter if everything plays out well. So at the moment we're really just aiming for board pressure, since we can win very easily off this with both Holy Lord and another Legendary Fighter, if we need it, of course. We definitely have what I would consider stabilization here. It's going to be very interesting to see everything they can do, and it does look like they're going to take out the entire board. But at what cost? Leaving just a 7/6 is definitely a risk a lot of the time. But a fair trade-off. Giving a 5/6, which is not the easiest thing for Sword to deal with most of the time. And this for them is not the best of options, to be honest. Since this does actually allow us to gain a rush. Luckily, having those amulets and Legendary Fighters was a massive advantage, which did let us get the 5 damage in, putting us very close to lethal. And our Holy Lion is actually going to start kicking in again, since we have a Crystal and Prism Swing, so we're going to be able to start generating those reasonably quickly. Not that we need them, as Prism Swing will just win us the game here. I was expecting them to try and get rid of this, but obviously they couldn't, which gave us a huge advantage. Alright, into game 2 against Shadow. In particular, Grandmaster from Dawnbreaker Night Edge Shadow. Interesting. Shadow is definitely another very strong deck right now in the current meta, at least from the decks that I've experienced so far. I would definitely lean towards that as the outcome. This is not a bad hand. Holy Lion Peace Weaver and Sealed Tomb along with Temple now, improving our hand by a massive amount. And double Temple. It's always very promising. So we could go for the double Holy Lion Crystal, or we can go for Holy Lion Crystal Temple, which is usually my preferred play when I'm going into turn 3 if I've already got a Temple on board and I need the second one out. Once you can start mass generating lions, that's where things really start to go crazy. Now, a little unfortunate though that we can't do a lot more than just play Holy Lion Crystals and a Peace Weaver. But, I mean, 2 lions, an extra crystal, the Holy Line of Salvation for next turn. We're looking at an extremely fast setup for very strong lions. No real shock, to be honest, that that's the road that happened here for Shadow. And really what we needed a fast, competent deck to really handle this. So I did decide to go for the crystals instead, since we end up with another one. Don't know if it was entirely the right move. I feel like at the time it was the right move, since I could generate a massive amount of lions here and still go for the amulet, which I think, looking back on that now, was probably the wrong move. I should have went for the crystal and just dealt with things from there. But Prism Swing isn't a bad spell, so it's not a fair trade-off, but it's not a bad trade-off. Especially since I can actually go Holy Lion Crystal Prism Swing next turn, if I want to. Which looks like probably what we're going to go for with these, of course, double crystals first. Since we're going to generate more crystals anyway. And now we have the one countdown left, so we're going to actually kill something next turn, pretty much no matter what. Azure Maiden, that's a little harsh. 50-50, and of course we hit the Maiden. At least Salvation will trade with the 4-3 here very easily, and then pretty casually go for more Lion Crystals. We could actually even use the Holy Lion Crystal like this, then go for the 5, and for another 2 if we had board space, which unfortunately we don't. But 8 damage is more than enough to really cripple them, so no surprise that we did end up seeing that concede. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Lions are still doing reasonably solid as far as they go. I've tried a few different Haven decks now, and honestly I'm not feeling a lot of them. I don't mind the new variations with Aegis and stuff, but I think I definitely need to find one that I'm comfortable with, maybe even work on a full list myself, as Haven's just always one of those crafts where I can play it a lot better when it's completely built myself and I'm not just net decking a basic list. So hopefully we can get into that in the future. Until next time, guys, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. You'll find deck lists in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.